Some cool ass map intro.
We could just do our own map intros. I prefer the vocals, and you just do the beats.
Are you guys hyped? Alright, funny thing before we get into the game, QXC I don't think knew he was playing against Polt. I'm not too sure because I didn't read too much into it.
Ooh.
Oh, I thought they both said ready, didn't they? Ooh, my bad.
Way to go, man. What the...
Sorry, I swear I thought I saw both. My bad, good luck, good luck. Rifkin confirmed killing esports, I'm sorry guys.
God.
Alright guys, without further ado, it is a best of 5. It's the finals match. And this is, oh god, I feel like so dumb right now. I feel really bad. I've never done that before to date. But it is in the top left corner of the map, playing for Complexity Gaming. The Bandana Terran coming back in full force. It is QXC.
And in the upper right, as the blue Terran, it is going to be a CM Storm Polt.
He's put on a pretty good show so far today. We just saw a great series coming out of QXC, but TVT is a whole nother can of worms. Polt made kind of quick work of Illusion, but QXC is kind of that next step up where you can't disregard QXC, but you can't underestimate him either.
I want to say that these two have played like in something like Infamous, maybe not Infamous, maybe Famous. I don't know. I know that Polt. Crap! Now I really just forget everything, don't I?
I'd help you out, but I don't know where we're going with this one.
There's two Terrans, right? And like one of them was like an American. No, actually, it was the Muslim. That's right. Never mind. Okay, never mind. Like whoever the Korean Terran was, like just beat the Muslim like 14 times in a row, and it was really. I mean, he learned a lot, but that wasn't QXC, so never mind. My bad.
Fun times with Zombie Grab here on Base Trade TV.
Whatever, man.
It's okay. You know what? I screwed up. You screwed up. We'll just like level the playing field.
You screwed up worse. All right.
Shut up. Okay, it was an accident.
No.
Of course, Polt, I do want to point out, like, Polt, if there's one thing he's known for more than, like, being a good player, he's, like, one of the most mannered players in StarCraft 2, like, one of the nicest guys. I mean, I screwed up, sure, but immediately, there wasn't even hesitation. He asked if he wanted to regame. Like, didn't want to force QXC to play a match that he was uncomfortable with.
Well, no one's that BM.
Well, no, but, I mean, some players won't even put the offer up. They'll do it if they have to, right? But I'm just saying, Polt... I've cast a lot of games of him in StarCraft 2 before he made the big splash on WCS. He played every single week in Zotac Cup. Never a moment of like anything but just like sunshine and lollipops from this guy.
Well, we have two different builds going out for with players here. It looks like Polt's going to be going maybe same old, going up to those Banshees, while QXC is doing it a little in a different order, it looks like. Yeah, so his is a little bit faster. Oh, actually, Polt's going to go for a Hellion drop.
I was going to say this exactly what he did against Illusion and Polar Knight, if you recall. Of course, the supply depots being up are meant to just keep QXC from waltzing into the front base. But, alright, Starport will finish up in a moment's time. He was going to have those medevacs coming out, but as we see, QXC is already putting supply depots down. He's trying to limit the dead space in his base so he doesn't get caught off guard.
The one thing about what the build that QXC is doing is that it is very, like, you're getting all in on Banshees, right? There's not a whole lot of other units, whereas in some other Banshee builds, you get a reactor on your barracks, you have a lot of Marines to deal with, like, a counter Banshee. So, you know, Polt might be able to do some damage, especially if QXC is, you know, he has a Banshee on Polt's side of the map, and Polt has his drop on QXC's base, right? It could get weird. There are some TVTs where they just do so much damage to each other on one base that it's like a early base race scenario.
It's a weird thing to consider, but that sometimes can be the situation. With the Banshee coming out, though, QXC should be able to hold off what Polt brings his way. The problem with this is, like, you know, usually it's the Marines and the Hellions just running over top of the Marines of your opponent, but QXC is going to have a little bit more than just naked Marines. He is going to try and get into the main here, but he will be seeing these 3 depots, and, oh, even gets into the main.
Is that on purpose? He, like, even lowered the depot?
I think he was trying to bring the Hellions out, right, to run across the map. QXC did not see what was coming, but he's got to have a pretty good idea to leave this Banshee at home and not go across the map with it.
Yeah, I mean, he can still go across the map. The point is that he can stop the medevac from dropping and, like, the elevator trick. So that's really what's important. He's also walling off the main, so it would have to have been the elevator trick to actually work. Oh, he's not walled off quite yet, though. Oh, gotta be careful.
And then Medevac's waiting to unload as soon as he can. Not actually going to go for the full wall. Okay, there we go. So third depot funding comes down here for QXC. Again, typically you don't see those third depots come up, or these 3 depots come up, guys, because they're so easily taken out from the ground level. High ground provision provided by the Medevac is going to do exactly that.
So he gets something for his troubles, Polt does. He does have to deal with the Banshee that's now in his base, however. There's a Viking, there's no Raven, there's one scan, but he's choosing, you know, he's biding his time. If you miss it, then that's, you know, that's your only scan. Well,
he's trying to rely on the vision if he can get away with it. Also focus here on the other side of the map. Polt is going to be driven off, so QXC loses a depot, not the end of the world. Gets a couple kills for this.
The scan with the Marines. Yeah. Just barely. If those Marines hadn't popped out when they did, then actually probably would have survived for round 2. But that is very nicely done for Polt. And QXC, I believe, did not invest any further into those Banshees. No, which actually is unfortunate because he did get... Oh, there it is. I was like, he didn't get a second one. He got Cloak. Doesn't make any sense. But yeah, the second one's already on the way.
Well, hoping to catch QXC off guard. Does not, unfortunately, and has to leave the base with that Medevac. Second Banshee coming in, but a turret put in a pretty pristine spot. Polt says, alright, this might not hit the Banshee, but it'll provide all the vision I need to really keep it out. QXC could opt to try and take out that spot if we had more energy, but decides to back off instead. 2 commands are still coming out of Polt right now. This is going to certainly give him a bit of lead in this game. QXC, of course, has got his second one finishing up in a moment's time, but not going for that quicker third. It looks like QXC is going to elect to play mech versus Polt. I've seen
that early third. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I've seen Polt take on players like MMA and go toe-to-toe with some of the best that Europe has to offer, but, you know, QXC's brand of mech might just be that little bit of unique styling. He's a... I mean, we saw it versus Petraeus, for example. Like, he doesn't play too aggressive, but he plays aggressive enough type thing. TVT, though, it's a whole other can of worms when you play mech. You know, those tank lines are hard to break, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, they're very different mech games, you know. Can't really play one like you play the other. Not quite. More Banshees are on the way for QXC. At least one more than trades off for the Vikings. Sometimes Medevacs. You still see some players trying to, you know, do the Hellbat Medevacs. I still think it's useful, not only because, of course, they heal them, but those drops can be so powerful, dropping the Hellbats right on top of the units. Even if they have mostly Marauders, the splash damage is insane. But it seems to have really phased out.
Yeah, a lot of players are just so good at just doing that quick pull and really getting away from the Hellbats. Not to mention this turret's down too, so the Medevac's in a lot of danger even getting there in the first place. But no, I agree. If you can pull it off, it's worthwhile, but it's not the easiest thing to pull off.
So it is going to be for Vikings, and the QXC, as a mech player, is almost guaranteed to have the air advantage. But there are some players, as bio players, who anticipate that and put more into their own air. So then they get away with getting the Banshee, which is very key against a mech player. It's actually worse because, I mean, you kill a few tanks with a Banshee against a bio player, you know, that sucks, but at least I have my bio left. But if you can take out so many tanks against a mech player, then that's great.
Double Banshee's not quite going to be able to stop that turret from going up. It gets pretty darn low, though. Small update from the admin, guys. Looks like Shu has officially been eliminated. Unfortunate for our Clarity Gaming player. That's one more name on the wall that will not be advancing to IEM. It's a tough thing. There's only 2 slots for 16 really fantastic players.
Oh, Huck did beat Shu. That's what happened. So it's Huck for States and Betrays vs. Illusion is the losers round. Maybe we'll get to catch those, but maybe not. So for game 1, best of 5. Just Marines for Polt right now. I want to start mixing on those Marauders, as he's probably identified by now that it is in fact mech. Seeing no Marines usually a pretty good sign.
I can't remember if it was you. It was I think it was like Tasia versus 4GG or something, where he was doing something similar. 4GG that was hiding a bunch of Vikings towards the north, you know, not wanting to reveal that he's got so many available to him.
Well, I don't want to be a fan, but Boxer did it in Code A, and it was amazing.
Rolling my eyes at you. I'm just talking about recent games here, Zombie Grub. The weak ass.
Whatever.
Right?
It was amazing. It was amazing. All right, because it wasn't even just hiding them because he's hiding them right now, which is very early on. So. I mean, what Boxer was actually like, he was already down in the Viking count and then hid them. So the other player had like 16 Vikings. Boxer just had 18. But yeah. QXC is almost guaranteed to have the Vikings, so I'm kind of surprised he's hiding them. That might just be catching Medevacs.
An unfortunate fight in the middle of the map. Shows just how good a Marauder with a Medevac is versus Hellions. Banshee going to try and come in from the side here. But anyways, a big part of hiding the Viking count is the fact, like, you know a meching player is going to have Vikings. It's just kind of one of those things that's assumed. Oh, no, why is this Banshee not cloaking? Okay, QC cloaks at the last second. I was gonna say though, what's really nice about this, it's meant to kind of like just catch your opponent off guard. Polt's not producing a lot of Vikings right now because he doesn't think he has to. Air dominance isn't something he's gonna worry about as a bio player. But when you've got a lot of Vikings that come out of nowhere and suddenly your medevacs are just gone before you can even stim once, that's trouble. That's air vision stripped away. That's your tank suddenly being in a lot of trouble because you don't have like 9 command centers to spam scans with.
Well, it is interesting that he's hiding them for sure. It's I don't even think Polt's really investing anymore in the tanks. He's getting one at a time. But if he was like versus a Marine tank, then he would be getting like 3 factories by now. But he's definitely gonna be producing more on the units side, and maybe he'll start overproducing medevacs, thinking like, yo, he's not going for Vikings. Like I can actually start dropping everywhere, and then that's when they come out. Or actually, no, they're being shown right now. It's a pretty hefty Viking count. They're going to be able to take on the medevacs super, super fast, but not much else. No, Polt!
Oh, he lifts up immediately, though. But this is that threat of the Vikings suddenly being on the front lines, right? Like, it's not going to be the easiest thing to engage. Hellions are left back for now. Hellbats are on the way. Does not have those transformation servers yet, but a blue flame in just a second's time. So engaging on top of the bio, not going to be too big of a problem. I like the Banshee still being a part of this, too. There's turrets coming down, though. Or, sorry, no, that's the sensor tower. Take that back. Whoa.
There's stores on the way.
Yeah, sensor towers are not out of the ordinary or weird by any means, but just strange placement for one, I guess. Very exposed on the front lines. Tanks are sieged up pretty good for QXC. Secret missile or 2 are going off and on absolutely nothing, so unfortunately not too useful here, but should be able to force back this third base, or at least maybe evacuate. I mean, Polt can't really move forward. There's too many tanks for him to engage into, and QXC has successfully forced it to lift off.
Gotta pick up right there, and he could go to the third. I mean, the gold, rather, as his third if he wants to. He's in kind of a terrible position, or not terrible, he's in a bad position right now. Maybe terrible. QXC's now up by about 30 supply as a mech player, and he has the gold base.
Tank goes down. There's almost no tanks left for Polt. In fact, because that Thor was made, that ate up tank production. Now he's got no way... Polt actually has no way to push QXC back too easily. And I just...
Well, Polt is the comeback king, but he usually really has a few command centers off the back of the comeback. Now he's literally just on 2. He doesn't have 2 more in his back pocket, but he's like, go ahead, take it. Okay, I was about to say the only thing he can do is a counterattack, but QXC is totally prepared for that.
And a nice thing too about Hellbats is like, yeah, they soak damage on the front lines, but if you've got them sort of like intertwined with your tanks, these Marauders aren't going to get much done. But the Thor's going to soak a lot of the hits, allowing the bio to push forward. QXC is going to lose all these tanks on the front line, but Polt breaks his contain, most importantly.
That wasn't actually a perfect engagement by Polt. He like went faster with one than the other, but at least he broke it.
That's the thing. Like at this stage of the game, you cannot aim for perfection. You just have to break it. What I was gonna say about the Hellbats that's really nice is like, typically you see medevacs dropping on top of the tank lines, splash damage goes off, and Marauders kill a tank or 2, but with the Hellbats guarding the tanks like this, even if there wasn't the Viking count that QXC secured the lead of, Polt can't do that. We do have drops going off in the main, so the Blue Flame Hellbats, Zombie Grab, you get your wish. Happy birthday.
Oh, wow. Well, actually, most of that's probably from the the engagements. 27 SCVs have gone down so far, but I'm not sure many of those or any of those are from the Hellbats.
He pulled them from the main. He only lost a couple on the main, but still.
Oh.
You got the drop off that you wanted.
Well, I wanted him to drop on the army.
Well, look, it's baby steps, okay? You gotta walk before you can run. Okay. Third base down for both players. It's just kind of an awkward game, but QXC's third is, of course, a gold. So economically speaking, you'd think like, hey, this guy's crazy far ahead, but as a meching player, you don't really use your resources that much. It just allows him to build more Hellbats to throw away, sure. But he's still limited by gas. So finally taking his 4th base, QXC's going to be able to start getting ahead and maybe get to that point where he can push. I mean, he's ahead in a big way. I shouldn't say start getting ahead. Don't get me wrong, guys. But I mean, getting to the point where he can afford to throw away his army and remake a new one.
I think he meant minerals, by the way. Keep saying resources.
Yeah, sorry.
Just to clarify.
Whatever. I'm sick. That's my excuse. But no, you're absolutely right. You don't use your minerals. Like, as we see, he's just throwing away Hellbats because whatever, he can. Trades him out for a tank, way better for him than it is for Polt. Loses another tank with that scan, and of course the Vikings for finding a lot of that air vision really nice. But yeah, with finally getting maybe 7 and 8 Geyser down, he'll be able to start producing a lot more tanks.
Yeah. He's in a very good position, still up by 20 supply. Usually the bio player wants to be up 20 supply and pushing in, and so far QXC has also been foolproof. This should take out the 4th. He might be able to lift it just in time to save it.
Hellbats back in the main once again. They're not exactly killing a lot, but what they are doing is drawing the attention and Polt away. Like, even if it's for that split second that drop was meant to be queued down, as we see, it's unloading here on the side of the map. Gonna push in. QXC will find this. He's spreading Hellbats out everywhere looking for extra bases, so through coincidence and timing, lucks out and sees the entire army here, so repositions his army. And what should have been a quickly lost fourth should, well, it might still go down, but it's gonna not go down for free.
Okay, yeah, it doesn't go down. That was close, though. There were a lot of Marines, so we'll have to repair that and then make into a planetary. The upgrades, by the way, currently 2-2 for Polt versus just 2-0 of QXC. That's actually pretty normal. The battle player always wants to have more command centers and also better upgrades, although Polt is missing out on one of those things. He's currently getting his 4th, so going to be even. The Hellbat does spot it. We also have Polt getting a starport, so we might try and get that air superiority, the surprise air superiority, and go for the Banshees afterwards.
What's really key here too is you'll see QXC's not even trying to take his gold base. So a lot of this is because Polt's not even trying to take his gold base. But that's because QXC's got control of the middle of the map. He's got turrets down, he's got a tank line. Hell, he's building a wall, for goodness sake. There's no way Polt builds a base here without it getting destroyed.
Well, I mean, this just guarantees Polt's probably never going to break over there. But there's still other pathways. It's not a... I can't think of a map, but it's not a one-pathway map. You can definitely have other avenues of attack, and Polt's still doing okay on multiple bases. I mean, QXC, considering where QXC was, 8 minutes ago or whatever, it's, Polt being max is actually pretty good.
This is really unfortunate. The Hellbats, they act as that buffer for the tanks. It's like Roach Hydra, right? Like, you need the Roaches for the Hydras, you need the Hellbats for the tanks. And because of this, QXC is not taking many tank losses this game, other than the awkward ones on the front lines earlier. It's been a lot of Hellbats. And of course, like I said earlier, minerals, not resources, sorry, my bad, but minerals are your disposable income that you just do not care about. So throwing away Hellbats is not a problem for someone like QXC, who's on 4 bases, one of which is a gold.
Weird enough, they've both lost the same amount of tanks.
Yeah, I just noticed that too, 7-7, but that might change here in a second. Marauders coming from multiple angles. QXC's going to lose a lot here.
Wow.
Oh, jeez, that was a bad engagement. Caught a little bit off guard by Polt, but, we said it before, he's the comeback king, but there's a planetary fortress and a lot of tanks he's got to go through. These Marauders are all so low, and the Hellbats are going to push this back just that little bit more.
Yeah.
There's not enough here to kill the planetary.
Yeah, there's not. The thing was that QXC defended I don't know if he attacked, defended that push with not all of his tanks, and that's really where the power up mech comes through. So, Polt was probably hoping, oh my god, I just got his entire army. Well, no, you didn't. There's still enough tanks to definitely defend, and that is unfortunate. Polt takes the great engagement, but is back where he started, 20 supply below.
Yeah, death balling is kind of the aim of the game. A couple more Vikings going down here. As these dwindle out, you'll notice QXC's not been replacing them, and that's okay, but that's a lot of his air superiority he's giving up, and as Polt starts getting his own Viking count up, QXC may struggle later on to actually catch up, much less overtake him.
He's adding in a few more here and there, but you're right, he's not nearly as consistent. Currently 6 Vikings to 4. He might have seen a second starport. Oh, he did see the second starport. I was like, why is he getting Thors too? So he is very much aware that if he gets out-aired, that's a thing apparently. That Banshees could
I know
come
exactly
in.
what you mean.
Banshees could come in and really wreck his tank line and bring Polt back into this game. Or battle cruisers. Yes, fusion core on the way.
Well, I've seen Polt go for Fusion Core multiple times and then never produce battle cruisers from it.
Never use it, right?
Yeah.
What is up with that?
But there was that one game versus Major. You remember that? Where battle cruisers actually won him the saved him from that immediate loss. I don't actually remember if he won that game or not, but I remember it was insanity seeing it come down. But yeah, Zombie Grub Strike Fusion Core on the way here for Polt. Again, one of the biggest weaknesses of going mech, you don't have a lot of anti-air, and having given up the Viking count, like we said earlier, well, I shouldn't say given up, but reduced his Viking count from this overwhelming amount. This makes pathways for Banshees, for Vikings, for battlecruisers, or hell, even Ravens. But QXC currently making his own Ravens, it's gonna be really nice. I'm surprised we don't have the tanks moving up just a tad bit here. There we go, to get in range of this mineral line. Meanwhile, Hellion run by towards the 3rd base of Polt. It's going to clear out quite a few SCVs here. But this is getting to that point of the game where, the SCVs are becoming less and less important. You're going to have a lot of mules to carry you through, and you're reducing your army size by having so many SCVs.
Yeah, he's down to 43, just remaking all of them at once, to 68. So QXC actually might want to think about getting more command centers and then shaving off SCVs. But, for someone who hasn't really... Well, actually, that one attack probably really messed him up. But, as far as really trading that often, he really hasn't been. He still doesn't have a lot of command centers.
No, that's a good point. Oftentimes, regardless of whether you're behind or ahead, you'll have multiple command centers. But At this point, both players have, you know, 4 and 3 orbitals. That's not the biggest deal. Engagement is forced here, and a couple Seeker missiles going to go off. No point defense drones, sadly, will soak up these hits, but the Seeker missiles is going to be pretty darn good. Looks like QXC will win this initial air fight.
Yeah, QXC was completely prepared for that. Maybe Polt was like, oh, maybe he stopped Vikings, but no, he got Thors, Widow Mines, Ravens, and those Vikings. So he is just... Air is covered by QXC. Polt, that was kind of his, like, I don't want to say it's a backup plan, because you can still win off of bio, like, but it would have been great to get him back and ahead in this game had he had a surprise battlecruiser.
Well, giant-ass drops being loaded up here. A huge army pushing forward. That Thor's going to soak some of these hits, but even dropping on top of the army, like I said earlier, the Hellbats are so good at frying bio up, even if it's those Marauders. And Polt barely scratches hell. He barely tickles QXC.
That was bad right there. Now Polt is down to 126 supply to QXC, who's pretty much still maxed out. Now QXC is just biding his time. He doesn't want to push out and be caught, because the one time he did push out, what happened? Polt took a great engagement. He doesn't want that to happen again, but I think he's getting to that time where he shouldn't be that afraid.
Yeah, I think if we saw more Thors in this army and less tanks for QXC, we'd see the battlecruisers coming out a little bit earlier for Polt. One of the biggest things they have going for them is not their damage. Let's be honest, battlecruisers are kind of easily kited by Vikings, and they don't have the best damage. QXC actually sacrificing those SCVs like I was talking about earlier, trying to get his army supply a little bit bigger, but Yamato Cannon can be a big deal if QXC was getting out of hand, but unfortunately what QXC has right now doesn't really warrant the necessity of Yamato Cannon. Ravens, mostly Hellbats, some small amounts of tanks. I mean, this is a moderate army composition that's proven to be quite strong. No point defense drones. The Ravens being completely sacrificed. QXC with a big mistake there, loses some very expensive units, and this push out of Polt, it didn't end the game, but it got really, really good trades.
That was surprising, and Polt, maybe after that, considers going into those battlecruisers. He does start the weapon refit, so whatever, it's it's energy, right? So
yeah, whatever you want to call it. It's,
I didn't even know that was its name. Like, I legitimately had no idea, but anyways, battlecruisers are on the way.
I just always called it Yamato Cannon. I've never actually looked at the tooltip before.
Yeah.
But okay, 2 at a time. We got the medevacs going towards the main. I don't know that I necessarily love the battlecruiser choice, but I guess realizing that most of the Vikings have been taken out, and the fact that he killed so many Ravens right now, that may just be what prompted him to say, all right, you know what, this is something I can afford to do. QXC, though, still doesn't have his base quite secured down. He's got a nice tank position here, as well as a planetary fortress. It's going to take a lot to break this, but a big Doom drop in the main. QXC does not have a lot defending. A couple nicely positioned siege tanks, actually, but that being said, Polt is going somewhat unabated here, trying to rush back towards the main with tanks, with Hellbats, but slow is a mech army, no matter how you look at it.
Well, the command center goes down in the lower right. However, a planetary might go down. It's being shot at from the low ground. That's not quite enough to out DPS the repair, and Polt may be able to save it, but the planetary of QXC's is also going to live. I mean, it's going to be... His Marauders could try and take it on, but it should live.
Yeah, Marauders and Marines, you need a lot of damage to take down Planetary Fortress, even if it doesn't have the building plating upgrades. But Seer Missile's going to come down on the SCVs. Oh, they're clumping up! Zombie Grub! Mega kill. Gets a couple of good SCV kills there, but where are the battlecruisers? Have they been revealed? You know, it doesn't even matter. QXC's production has been slammed in a big way.
Yeah.
Still hasn't cleaned this up. I naturally assumed he would have. That's why I stopped paying attention up here. But looking at the army supply of QXC, I wonder where is his army at? Bringing it back from the central portion of the map. Oh god, factories have gone down, reactors and tech labs have been demolished, and of course Polt with those battlecruisers, where are they even rallied? He's got 2 at home with a lot of Vikings. QXC had such control over the majority of this game, but for the first time I really feel like Polt just took such a big lead. He's not destroying the base and the game is not over, but he got through QXC's lines. He broke QXC for the first time.
The supply difference doesn't tell why Polt might win this game. The battlecruisers do. The lack of anti-air from QXC. He's trying to replace it now, but I mean, he doesn't have the economy, right?
Oh,
he's still on a lot of bases. They both are, though, and Polt could win with this air transition, and even if the air transition doesn't win, forcing QXC to get air himself, something the bio is better. Like, that's the trade-off.
8 Ravens have gone down this game, and what's depressing is I think almost every single one of them have been in a bit of an awkward spot where I think it was like lack of control that got them killed more than anything else, but Polt now has a very sizable force. He has Yamato Cannon, guys, which hits for a whopping 300, and it's a guaranteed hit. You can't outrun it. Combined with the fact that battlecruisers without upgrades still attack pretty quick, they don't hit that hard. They're not used for their damage, but of course, there's not a lot of anti-air here. In fact, QXC's got 5 Vikings. He's going to lose 4 of these Vikings to Yamato cannons, probably. Yep, there we go, charging up. And as you see, can't quite outrun it, so boom! Trying to cut away from the Hellbats, though. Both players realize this game's perhaps a little bit more desperate than either of them initially realized. Another Yamato cannon is going to go off on the Vikings. 2 more go down. And these fleet, they're not, well, I guess it's a small fleet, but I was going to talk about like the flagships of the Terran army pushing into QXC's base with Marines, with Marauders, with Medivacs. Finally secure this game. Bolts in game number 1 of the finals. Oh my god, game number 1 of the finals.
What happened? Like, Jesus, like that's a game where you just gotta look at it as QXC and be like, where it just fell out of my fingers. Like I had it, and then it was gone.